The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everyone, and welcome to our webinar from this month. I'm Thierry van Ekten. I'm one of the Distimo's analysts, and next to me is Hendrik Koekoek. He's also one of our analysts. This webinar covers the month report of March, which had the subject of how the most successful apps monetize their user base. What we're going to do with this webinar, we're going to give you a walkthrough the main findings of our publication, and we'll give you a small, short demo of EpicU, which is one of our main products. But first things first, what is Distimo and what do we do? So, what we basically do is we track all major app stores and collect all public available data in the app stores, such as rankings, prices, reviews, and so on. And we combine those two sources, so the public available data and the transactional data of the main app stores. We combine those sources, and that gives us a good overview and good insights of the app ecosystem. Moreover, we also track all major ad networks such as Smato and InMob. Then our products. Our main product is App Analytics. This is a web-based app application where you can track your own apps cross-store. So not only in one store, for example, the Apple App Store, but you can also track your app in the Apple App Store and Google Play and Samsung apps and Amazon apps, and combine all sources and see how good your performers are. Moreover, App Analytics has some nice features, such as it helps you organize your reviews. You can benchmark your own performance to the market. We have some tools which allows you to track conversion, and that one is called App Link. And App Analytics allows you also to track your competitors in terms of rankings. That one is for free. And our second main product is EpicU. EpicU allows you to track also your competitors, but now in terms of downloads and revenues. So it's more accurate than only the rankings. I will give you a short example of what you can do with EpicU shortly. But first, the main findings of our month report, and I give the floor now to Hendrik Koekoek.
Okay, thanks, Thierry. So I will go through the findings of this month's report. And this report is about how applications monetize. And to analyze this, we looked at, for example, the different business models. So we distinguish between three different business models. The first one is paid without in-app purchases. The second is paid with in-app purchases, and the last one is free applications with in-app purchases. So we compared these business models and how they perform. Advertisement is not included in this analysis. And we also looked to further analyze how applications really monetize. We looked at the revenues per downloaded application. So, this tells you a lot of things. So, for example, it tells you how much you can spend on advertisements for one download in order to, so the revenue per downloaded application has to be higher than what you spend per downloaded application, of course. It also tells you something about the market potential. If one application generates a certain amount of revenue, one downloaded application, yeah, it tells you about how much you will you can potentially generate in terms of revenues if you generate more downloads. And the last thing you can do is compare the different markets, so you can compare how much revenue per download is made on iPad versus iPhone, but also between different countries. So we will go through this during this webinar. So first we have a look at the different business models. Yeah, there is a comment about someone. It's a bit hard to understand. Yeah, I'll talk in the microphone more clearly. I hope this helps. So first, I will look at the different business models. So this is actually what you see here. It's the share of in-app purchase revenue over time. So it starts at January 2012, over a year ago, and back then the share of the total revenues in the US for iPhone was about 53%. And this month, February, where the last month this report covers, it climbed up to 76%. So that's a record high. It has never been this high before. So it really shows the importance of in-app purchases. And you can see in the next graph here that specifically for free apps with in-app purchases, the share of revenue is really large. So yeah, this in-app purchase revenue is mostly coming from free apps, and so not paid apps. In-app purchase revenue from paid apps is only 5%, and 71% for the iPhone in the US was for in-app purchase revenue from free apps. Well, so this shows that in-app purchases are really important. In some other countries, it's even more important. For the specifically Asian countries, Korea, Japan, Hong Kong, the share of revenue generated by in-app purchase is all over 90%. But in some other countries like Germany, which is a large market as well, Russia and the Netherlands, the share is like only 60% is generated by in-app purchases. So their in-app purchases appear to be a little bit less successful. So, well, in order to really see how applications monetize, it's also important to look at the revenues per download. And well, before I will show a little bit about that. First, I will give the word again to Churi, who will show how you can calculate the revenues per download using Distimo EpicU, because all data from this report is also taken from Distimo EpicU. So, Churi, go ahead.
All right. So, what is EpicU? EpicU is a tool that we developed, and here we track all ranked applications, not only for two stores, which are the Apple App Store and Google Play. What we basically do is we estimate download volumes and revenues on a daily basis in each category in almost every country in the world. With EpicU, you're able to track your competitors quite well. So for example, we start here with our leaderboards, and this leaderboard is aggregated over February. And we see, for example, that the number one in terms of grossing is Clash of Clans, and the number two in February is Candy Crush Saga. These apps are the apps that gain the most revenue during February. So let's take a look to, for example, Marvel War of Heroes by Mobage, and we take a look at the downloads. This example is only for the iPhone in the United States. And so we select Marvel War of Heroes, United States, and we do it on a cumulative basis, it's the Apple App Store. So the analysis that is performed in our report was until the 20th of March, which is somewhere like here. No, it's a little bit more further. Sorry for that. So it's somewhere like it's over here. So what we basically see is that this app was more than 2 million times downloaded since it's first appeared in the Apple App Store for iPhone. So we take the 2 million downloads and we divide that to the revenue. So we go to revenue over here. And we still look at the United States, this app, and we take total revenue, not only the developer's cut, total revenue, and it's again on a cumulative basis. So what we see here, that until the 20th of March, we see that this app earns 5.6 million USD only in the United States on the iPhone. So when we divide those two numbers, we get to an average revenue per download of, and here it is, 2.9 USD. So this is basically how we did this calculation, and it's all available in EpicU. I think Hendrik will continue with the main findings of his report.
Okay, yeah. So this is how we got our data. This is where we got our data from. So basically we took a sample that it's based on the top 250 applications of February 2013. So that is what Churi just showed in Listimo EpicU. But we took out all the applications that have been launched before 2012. So this research it covers the top 250 applications that have been launched since January 2012. And we calculated the average revenues per downloaded application for these applications. So for example, here you see the top 10 of iPhone US. And you see, well, first Marvel War of Heroes. That was the application Churi just showed, and this is generated $2.93 dollar per downloaded application. But yeah, you also see that it really that there are quite large differences between those top apps. These are the top 10 apps. For example, Rage of Bahamut, which is another application by Mobage, the same publisher that published the Marvel application. It's it generates most revenue per downloaded app, over $7. And What's the Word, for example, generated way less at 37 cents per downloaded application. The top application is Clash of the Clans. It's a Supercell game. Generates also quite a lot of revenue per downloaded app, $44.66, and it also Supercell also released Heyday, which also generates quite a lot of quite some revenue per downloaded application, $3.29. So, well, this is how we calculated the revenue per downloaded application. But if we want to compare business models and iPhone, iPad, and different countries with each other, yeah, we looked at all top 250 applications, and we did some analysis with those applications together. So this is what we did here. So basically what we did is of all these top 250 applications, we divided the sum of all revenue by the sum of all downloads of all these applications generated, but also only for apps that have the same business model. So, For example, what you see here is this. In this way, you can compare the different business models with each other. So, well, you see here that the paid applications, they generate on average $2.25 per downloaded application, and paid applications within a purchase, they generate even more. They generate $2.46 per download. So what this indicates is that well, users, even though you have to pay for you paid for your application beforehand, but you also have to pay extra for additional features. But users are not really put off by this, because they per downloaded application, it turns out that they spend more on paid applications with in-app purchases than paid applications without in-app purchases. And in these applications, the users, or per downloaded application, on average 98 cents was spent on in-app purchases. For free applications, it's actually much lower. It's 93 cents per downloaded application. But yeah, of course, the volumes of free applications are usually higher, and it's with ads, for example, it's less expensive to acquire download for free applications. So it's really still it's a good business model, but well, there are large differences. Per downloaded app, it's higher for paid applications. Well, we can also compare this with iPad, and we see that it's much higher. The prices for iPad applications are usually higher. So also this is what we see for the paid applications. Paid applications, they have an average revenue per downloaded application of about $4. So this was $2.25 on iPhone. And for paid applications with in-app purchases, it's $3.72, which is also much higher than it was on iPhone, $2.46. Free applications, what's interesting, it's they generate $2.26 on average on iPad, and this is this is also much higher than on iPhone. Even though the in-app purchases it's pretty comparable on iPhone and iPad, but the iPad users not only spend more on paid applications, but also they spend more on in-app purchases. And we also saw this for in-app purchases from paid apps, where the average downloaded paid application generates 98 cents on iPhone. This was $1.26 on iPad, so this is also much higher on iPad. So yeah, this shows how you can compare the business models. The next thing we can compare as well is the different countries. That's what we've done here, and what you can see immediately is that the average of these four countries, Germany, UK, and US, the average revenue per downloaded application is about $1. But the average revenue per downloaded application in Japan is even much higher. It's over $3, about $3. It's over $3, and we excluded Puzzle and Dragons from this analysis. Puzzle and Dragons is the top grossing application in Japan, and this really generates a lot of revenue per downloaded application, and this would really bias the analysis towards this app only, so that's why we excluded this application. But then the revenues per downloaded app would be even higher in Japan. So what this shows is that Japan, the market in Japan has a lot of potential. If your app gets downloaded in Japan, it on average generates much more revenue than in those three other countries. So yeah, so if we quickly recap this, yeah, it's important to look at the different business models and how applications monetize. So you really have to look at the revenues per downloaded application, because this shows how you you can compare markets with each other, iPads, iPhone. You can compare countries with each other. So which country, in which country a download generates most revenue, and yeah, you can look this data up using Distimo EpicU, just as Julie showed previously. And so yeah, if you want to do this yourself, you can visit our website. You can go to www.distimo.com and you can have a look at EpicU, and you can make these kind of analysis on your own. Yeah, so thanks for attending, and yeah, so this was a webinar, and yeah, well, if you I see there's one question.
There's a question about the categories, if there's any difference between categories.
Yeah, well, we haven't really looked specifically at categories, but I can imagine, of course, that there are differences. For example, yeah, just if you take navigation, for example, paid applications are usually very expensive. So the revenue per downloaded application will be higher in this category. So yeah, there must be quite some differences per category, but yeah, this is not in this report. Yeah, you can also always check it out on using Distimo EpicU, of course. So yeah, thanks again for listening, and yeah, I hope to see you at the next webinar.